Hey, everybody. Just going to give it a couple more seconds. We're just starting. It's going to be a quick broadcast today. I'm just going to go over some clay. It's a wonderful healing tool for the womb and
Gonna give it a
everything.
couple more seconds. We're just
Hold
starting.
on.
It's gonna be a quick broadcast today. I'm just gonna go
How do I
over
turn
some
off this?
clay.
I need-
That's a wonderful healing tool for the womb and
Gonna
everything.
give it a
couple more seconds. We're just starting.
on.
It's gonna be a quick broadcast today. I'm just gonna go
How do I
over.
All right. I just want to mute it so I can see the chat. Oh, whatever. Hopefully, I can still see the chats as they come in. All right. So let's get started. Today, I want to talk about clay. Well, just as a little intro, my name is Melissa. My website is lunarrainbotanicals.com. I am dedicated to sharing with you everything about natural healing and herbs and stuff like that that used to be everyday common knowledge of every mothers to daughters, sisters to sister. We passed it on, and now it's like the most foreignest exotic thing in the world, but it can save our lives and make a difference in the long term. Clay is one of those things. I'm going to start doing this webinar every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. I'm going to get disciplined and consistent about this. So that way we can take little bite-sized niblets, because there's just so much information that can be really, really helpful and instrumental. So today we're going to talk about clay. Clay is basically purified earth. I want to show you right now. Let's get right into it. This right here is clay, the most basic kind of clay. It's called bentonite. You're going to see it because of the glare of the light. It looks kind of whitish yellow, but it's actually kind of grayish green. And depending on the different kinds of minerals in the clay is what color it's going to have. And those different minerals actually give it different properties. Okay, so there is bentonite is kind of the most common clay, and it's literally purified earth. It's just dirt, but in its pure form. So there's no sticks, tweeds, bugs, whatever. If you actually just take rocks and different mixtures of the proper proportions of the elements of the crust of the earth, and you just purify everything out of it, you're going to basically have clay. And the wonderful thing about clay and why it detoxes so well is that it's the form of earth that when you wet it, it gets magnetic. This is something that detoxifies magnetically. It uses charges, electricity to like how two magnets come together, pull um debris and lower vibrating things to it, into its hollow spaces of its molecules. And then the body, since the body doesn't metabolize clay, you just literally push it out very easily. And it also doesn't store anywhere in your body, so it just comes out very easily when you defecate, or other ways too, when it gets in the micro levels of the nutrients. Now, how this works, and let's get a little bit into the physics, the bioelectrical physics of how this is working, so you can understand how to use it most properly. So everything in the world and nature is energy. And Einstein said, and Tesla also said it, if you want to understand the world, um, does brand matter? Okay, I'm back. I mean, I upgraded the service today and everything just so that this wouldn't happen. So, okay, let me breathe and make this thing work to the end of the broadcast. This is going to be kind of a short one. So, I hope you're still there, Facebook user. I want to answer your question. Okay, so brand doesn't really matter too much when it comes to buying clay, because the controversial part about buying clay or using clay or getting clay for the people is the company, how they excavate it. A lot of times it's unethical. They leave a big old hole in the dirt, and they can disrupt the water systems and stuff like that. But once they get the clay and they purify it, it's really just, it's the basic material, and it's and sometimes it can be a little contaminated, but you can get around that by do a little research in the brand, see how they're sourcing it, see if they know where they source it, if they know about their product. You want to buy from people who know about, because they all got some kind of, so they're going to give you a data sheet. You want to find one that has the least amount of contaminants, but it's really not that complicated. It's not. um So I hope that answered your question. I try to get mine in bulk, and look for people who have ethics in business. You just do the best that you can. And then the more and more you're around these natural products, you start to get a nose as to who's got the good stuff with the high vibration. You know what I mean? With less amount of tampering as possible. Okay, so the thing I want to explain to you about the physics of bioelectricity is that everything, when you want to understand the universe, as Einstein and Tesla said, you need to think in terms of frequency. There's a wonderful doctor who did a presentation on YouTube that's very understated about the frequency. His name is Dr. Jerry Tennant, Tennant, and he literally cataloged the frequencies of all kinds of different illnesses, viruses, bacteria, along with states of health. And okay, we gonna try this one more time before I call these people up at AT&T and figure out what's going on, and maybe have to reschedule because it's frustrating and the interruption of information is ridiculous. So, I don't even know where we left off. Make sure I got a better connection next time. Is anybody there? Let me check and see in my Facebook page If anybody is chatting on here on the YouTube. All right. I don't see anybody there. Are you guys there? Is anybody there? I know we got interrupted twice, so you'd have to be really patient to still be there. I think I'm gonna just reschedule this twice, so you all right. It looks kind of stable. I'm gonna try one more time. I'm gonna start from the beginning, just in case we can have an uninterrupted flow. And let's try this again. If it interrupts me one more time, I'm going to. Oh wait. Okay. Okay. We got gas. We got gas. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if we can put this in. All right. Bioelectricity, when it comes to using clay, we need to understand it. Things of lower vibration, including your own emotions and states of being, are of low vibrations. You can measure it with instruments. They're low. They're like in the teens and the tens when it comes to megahertz. Okay. And things of high vibration, such as celebration and life and essential oils, crystals, happiness, total health and harmony of the different organs happens in the hundreds and the thousands. Even different fabrics such as linen and cotton and different things like that, they have high vibrations in the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, when you wet clay, it needs to be spraying wherever it is, because you need the clay needs to be wet. The minute it gets dry, it's no longer being a channel. It's still holding the toxins that it did suck in while it was wet, but it's now no longer attracting, and there's no longer electrical attraction between the clay and the lower vibration things. It does it in such a wonderful way, as is the general theme of all of our natural cures. It takes away the bad stuff without interrupting the good stuff. So it does not suck up the vitamins and the essential minerals and the essential fatty acids that the body has. It really literally just sucks up the heavy metals, the excess hormones, the viruses, bacteria, all kind of like lower vibration stuff, and leaves the good stuff there. That's like the awesome thing about clay. And like I said, it needs to be wet. You can take this internally. You can drink it internally, especially during cleansing or just like everyday kind of thing. It also has lots of minerals that'll help with your structural integrity of your bones and vessels and stuff like that. Trace minerals. And you can't OD on it. It's basically like eating clean dirt. And it will detox your mucus and your intestines and stuff like that. But in this webinar, I want to go over specifically how to use clay for feminine detox. So the easier way to go to start is with externally. Externally, like I said, it needs to be wet. You literally just take the clay, make a paste out of it. You can put all kinds of things to make the paste. You can use just regular water, but you can also use apple cider vinegar and it'll bubble it a little bit. That helps a lot with neutralizing the toxins. We're talking about external applications now. So for the skin, you can make a mask to go over your breasts once a week for prevention. For with all of this crazy cancer and tumors going around, it's just almost like every day this crazy disease has been normalized, and it doesn't need to be if we take precautions. The world, yes, it's very toxic, but these are toxins that we can avoid and detox out of our bodies. They don't need to sit there and cause havoc. Clay is one of these wonderful things. You just make a paste out of it. You can add yogurt, apple cider vinegar, clay, um, vegetable and fruit juices. Okay. And then when it's in that thick paste, when you let clay, oh, when you wet clay, it froze again. Am I still on? Do you hear me? I hope it didn't freeze again. I'm gonna have to do this whole webinar all over again because this is really important information, and I'm not sure what is getting through or not. But since some people are here, I'm just gonna finish with what we have today. But I promise you guys, I'm gonna do this again. Um, so yeah, so you're gonna make a paste, put it on your breast, leave it there, make it thick. Now we want a thick layer of paste, not just some thin little, dusty thing. A thick layer of paste that will really suck up the stuff out of your breast. You can also my I love doing this, which is a little out of the box, but it's very, very healing. That same thick paste, literally start at the top of your hairline, your pubic hairline, and put a thick paste all the way down the yoni, on the surface of the yoni, in the lips, in between the lips, all the way into the anus, the crack of the anus. I'm talking about a thick layer, and then just sit there for at least half an hour and read a book. Okay, and you can add all kind of herbs to your clay that are nourishing to the womb and the breast. Put it all over. You just put it all over your whole torso. Okay, make sure you get down up in the cracks of the yoni between the legs, really, really good with a thick layer. You do that, a couple times a month. You're now we're cooking with gas. Now we can live in this world and divert stuff and jump over stuff and be healthy and live to 140, 200. What you want? What you want? So, that's the external thing. You can leave it on as long as you want. Just remember it needs to stay wet in order to be effective. Also, another ojo we need to remember is because you're understanding that we're working with the principles of bioelectricity and physics in action. We're not going to use metal utensils when we're preparing or using clay. So wood, ceramic, even plastic is okay since it's inert. Metal, if you understand it, can be highly reactive and with electrons and stuff. So we do not use clay and water and metal because you can cause effects and dilute electrons and stuff like that you don't even really want in your clay. So never use metal when you're using clay for medicinal purposes. Okay. And then when you put it on externally, put it on a thick layer, keep it wet, leave it on for a long time. As long as it's wet, it's pulling it out. It's pulling it out. And then you just rinse it off. And internally, you can actually drink it, put like a teaspoon in your water, drink it. It could be on an empty stomach or not. Um, it's even these things are even used in the hospital. It's so it's so effective. They use often activated charcoal, which is another form of carbon. It's just like pure carbon earth. Um, but it's a little more I wouldn't use it for womb detox like this for other reasons. We won't get into the charcoal right now. The different kinds of clay before we get into the internally in with the vagina is important too. When you're going to put clay internally in your vagina, how do you keep it wet when it's on you? You get a spray bottle. Good question. I get a spray bottle. And I literally, when I have a clay mask on, I'll just, as I feel it drying, you just spray. When I feel it drying on my breath, just keep it spray. What I like to do is have like a full on spa experience at least once a month where I'll soak in some salt and get my body nice and soft, maybe put even clay in the water. And then when my pores are all open, then I cover myself with a thick layer of clay. And because it's so thick, it usually doesn't begin to dry for like 20 something minutes or so. And I'm already in the tub and the thing's already kind of wet. So I don't really need a spray bottle in that instance, but you want to do whatever you got to do to keep it wet. It's not really that hard. You could, if you're in the bathroom, go under the shower real quick, but don't rinse it all off. That'll re-wet it. Okay, red clay happens to have lots of iron in it, and it happens to be a little bit more drying. So I only use it on oily skin or really highly problematic skin, such as I have this formula called Pretty Yoni. And it's for the ingrown hairs and the stubborn hair that happens in the pubic area. And you're gonna, you scrub first, and then you use this. I use red clay. I'm telling you about this because I don't know if you can see the color really well, but it's red clay because it's more drying. It sucks out more of those heavier oils out of the skin that can cause, those big old cysts and stuff like that. The clay that we use for the internal suppositories for the vagina is the regular bentonite clay, which is more green, uh, grayish, and it is also drying. So if you have issues with vaginal dryness, then I wouldn't recommend using clay to detox internally. Um, you could use black seed oil better, something that's more lubricating and calming, because if you use you just don't, it's drying. And one of the things that could happen if you let it dry too much is it could crack your skin. That's why it's very, very, very important to keep it wet. That's another reason to keep it wet, especially these more drying clays. Once they get dry on your skin, it'll start like pulling on your skin and it can like crack your skin and you get all damaged and stuff, and that's not necessary. So now, to use clay internally in the vaginal canal, I want to show you how to do it, because this is one of the most wonderful ways to balance out your internal flora, the yeast bacteria balance in the vaginal canal, and excessive wetness, odor, reoccurring vaginal bacteria, infections, candida infections, urinary tract infections. I mean, like, so many things get really balanced out, especially when we've spent a lot of years using tampons and pads and stuff without knowing that they're just full of so many terrible chemicals. And the vagina is absorbent, and it'll hold that stuff. And then the reproductive organs are also full of so much fatty tissue that these heavy metals and these noxious chemicals get stuck on for a long time until you deliberately flush them out. So what I've done is I'm in my manufacturing little space right now, so I didn't have a little bowl to show you exactly. So I got a little glass container and water. You can see I'm mixing up some bentonite clay that I'm going to insert for a vaginal suppository. This is too thin. If I were to put this up there, it's just going to run right out like water. So you want it to be thick, right? Thicker, almost as thick as toothpaste. Okay. Some people, I'm showing you how to do this in a way that you don't have to buy anything from me. If you already have clay around your house, you don't have to get anything from me. Um, some people, what they do is they'll make the thick paste, and then they'll form it into like maybe the size of half of my pinky, little pellets. Let them dry almost all the way dry. The only reason you're gonna let it dry a little bit is so that when you insert it with your finger into the vagina, it doesn't like fall apart like goo. Okay, but the solution that I offer if you buy from me is this plastic injector. If I can find, oh, here. So you make it into a paste just a little bit thinner than toothpaste, right? And then, oh man, I put too much water again. Okay, so I make it into a paste. This is again too thick. Let's add more clay. And what I'm gonna do is I got these little injectors that I sell my kit with. So my kit comes with the clay, and then it also comes with this injector. So you make this thick thing here, and then you suck it into the injector. Okay. Just like this. This is for like, people who use Vagisil and stuff like that, but we ain't using that chemical stuff. We're using that good that actually works. And so now that it's an injector, you insert it and you squirt it in. This is a little too runny, like I said, but I can't for purposes of time and stuff. I'm not getting the proper consistency. Like I said, you wanted it to be just a little thinner than toothpaste, almost as thick as toothpaste, so that when you inject it, it doesn't run out, you know, and you just squeeze it in there. Once you get it in your vagina, okay, you want to leave it in there for about 6 hours. You can sleep 6 to 8 hours. And then to get it out, you literally just finger sweep your vagina out, and just you could just get it out with your fingers, or you can also do a gentle douche. Take some distilled water, some purified water, put a little splash of apple cider vinegar, and then rinse the vagina out like that the next day after you've done a good 8 hours of keeping the clay in there. When I tell you, you will notice a difference. This is for prevention. This is for immediate relief of an infection with symptoms, or an inflammation or a breakout or a flare up with symptoms. And this is also for like nourishment of the tissues and all that good stuff. Like I said, you can add ingredients to it that can help maintain your flora, your pH balance, all that stuff. So if you were using it for vaginal, my formula, I add a bunch of herbs in there to help break up mucus and strengthen the vessels and the tissues and stuff like that. But like I said, hopefully, I'm talking to some people that got some bentonite laying around already. You can add stuff like red raspberry leaves. You could add cucumber water. You could add, just there's just so many things. Even basil, fresh basil is good for feminine issues. Wouldn't it come out naturally? Gravity. No, it doesn't. Unless it's really, really thin. Unless you made it like too thin, like what I made, it won't. If you make it really thin like water, it'll come out just like water and regular wetness. But if you make it thick like toothpaste, it's gonna be up in there, and you don't got to worry about keeping it wet because of your natural, moisture. It's in your body. It won't come out naturally. Even if you like try to push it out, it won't come out. You're gonna have to scoop it out. When I don't dish after it, because I don't mind it taking its time to come out. It's not doing anything bad, or it's not festering anything, and it does come out with my regular moisture, but I have that kind of moisture flow, you know what I mean? So people who have vaginal dryness, I don't recommend this because it could exacerbate the dryness. Blackseed oil would be better for detoxing, and it'll be more soothing for you. But I don't know. I think that is there any are there any other questions that I can answer when it comes to clay? I want to check my other chats, make sure I'm not missing anybody's questions. And if not, I want to tell you guys, I'm going to put in here, I want to give you a discount code for my website. It is um, Clay Love 30. I just put it in the chat, and that will give you 30% um, or 30% off whatever you buy, your site for the next 7 days until my next webinar. Um, okay, so I hope you guys are having a great evening. If it's oh yeah, it's safe. If you don't get it all out, it's okay. It'll come out eventually anyway. But some people are like, no, I just want to get it all out. And I totally get it. And in that case, you can do a dish and make sure it's gentle. None of these chemical things, none of these pre-made things. Please make your own. All you need is water, with a tiny, tiny little dash of apple cider, natural organic apple cider vinegar. What else? Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything? Like I said, I think I might have to go over this webinar one more time because we got interrupted so many times and it's kind of important and I'm not sure what got through and what didn't. But just as a recap, okay, clay is gentle, non-toxic, powerful way to detox. It needs to stay wet. The red clays are more drying. The green or gray clays are more nourishing and a little more gentle on the skin. Oh, I should say that too, right? My website is lunarainbotanicals.com. And like I said, we're going to be doing this every Wednesday now at 8 o'clock. Tune in here. I'm just going to try and stream it on every platform that I can because this is really important information. It's all hands on deck. We have normalized way too many things that should be like never even heard of, and we don't have to. And they're never going to take us there and show us it. Okay, we have to tell each other it. So we're saving each other. So please share this information if it helped you at all, and use it. Let me know. How do you use clay? Hit me up on my website and the back channels of here on YouTube and Facebook. Do you use clay? What are your favorite recipes? I'd love to share them the next time we come on. And if there's any, I also give free consultations right now while I got a little time, if I can help you in any way and put you in any directions. Oh, I forgot. I got this pile of books I wanted to share real quick that also bring up clay and different uses for clay. This woman here, Susan Weed, got a whole collection of books on feminine health and wellness using phytotherapy, plants, and herbs. This one, Childbearing Year, talks about clay for all kind of healing stuff. Back to Eden, this is in everybody's herbal Bible, okay? Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss. I know it's backwards, but we can work it out. We got brains. And you can this has clay in there a lot, all kind of treatments for clay. Clay is indispensable for detoxing and reestablishing tissue integrity. My other favorite book is Every Woman's Book by Pavel Arola. Amazing, wonderful, practical recipes for every phase of a woman's life, and it talks a lot about clay as well. And then the one book that I don't have on hand, which is my absolute favorite, are all the books by Queen Afua. She brings up clay a lot for healing the womb and detoxing the womb. So yeah, read. And I hope that helped in any kind of way. Like I said, please feel free to reach out. You can get me in all kind of ways. I check them all. My website with contact at lunarainbotanicals.com, and 2longlife2 is my business phone number. 2longlife2. You can call and I'll get back to you before the day is done. Okay. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Looks like we got signal after all. But all right. Thanks. Thank you. Let me check one more time, make sure I answered everybody's questions. We're going to figure out how to streamline this. Okay, good. Looks like we're good. All right, guys. I love you. Have a great night.